Every year, millions of homeowners hand over hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to plumbers for repairs they could have handled themselves in under an hour. And I get it. Plumbing feels intimidating when you don't know where to start. But after 3 decades in the trade, I'll tell you, most of what drains your wallet isn't complicated. Today, I'm walking you through 20 plumbing tricks that'll save you serious money this year, including one at number 17 that most pros won't even mention. And stick around for the bonus tip at the end, because that one alone could save your whole weekend. The first trick, and honestly, the most important one on this entire list, is knowing where your main water shutoff valve is and testing it at least once a year. Now that sounds basic, I know, but I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a house with water spraying everywhere, and the homeowner is standing there in a panic because they have no idea how to stop it. Your main shutoff is usually near the front of your house, close to where the water line enters from the street. It might be in the basement, in a crawl space, in a utility closet, or near your water heater. Find it today, not when there's a crisis. And here's the part people skip. You need to actually turn it. Gate valves, the round-handled ones, can seize up if they sit untouched for years. Turn it off and back on once a year just to keep it functional. If it's stiff or won't close all the way, that's your sign to replace it before you're standing in 2 inches of water some Tuesday morning. This one trick, just knowing where the valve is and making sure it works, can save you thousands in water damage. The second trick is one of the easiest repairs in all of plumbing, and that's fixing a running toilet yourself with a $5 flapper. If your toilet runs constantly or cycles on and off by itself, 9 times out of 10, the problem is a worn-out flapper. That's the rubber piece sitting at the bottom of the tank that seals the water in until you flush. Over time, it warps, cracks, or gets mineral buildup on the sealing edge. Shut off the supply valve behind the toilet, flush to drain the tank, unhook the old flapper from the overflow tube, and snap the new one in place. The whole job takes about 5 minutes. Now here's where the savings hit. A running toilet can waste 200 gallons of water a day. That shows up on your water bill fast, sometimes an extra $100 to $400 over the course of a year. And a service call to have someone else do this same 5-minute job will run you $150 to $300, depending on where you live. $5 part, 5 minutes, and you're done. The third trick that'll keep money in your pocket is learning to use thread seal tape correctly, and that means wrapping it the right direction. I've seen this mistake more times than I can count. Homeowners wrap Teflon tape on a threaded fitting, crank it together, and it still leaks. Then they think the tape doesn't work. Here's the thing. You have to wrap the tape clockwise when you're looking at the end of the threads, so that when you screw the fitting on, the tape tightens into the threads instead of bunching up and peeling off. Wrap it 3 to 5 times. Keep it snug against the threads and overlap slightly as you go. Use the right tape for the job, too. Standard white tape works for water lines. Yellow tape is rated for gas. Don't mix them up. This one basic technique, done correctly, eliminates the most common cause of leaking threaded connections in residential plumbing, and it saves you from calling someone out to fix what amounts to a wrapping error. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, do me a small favor and hit that subscribe button down below. I put out new videos like this one every week, walking you through repairs that'll save you a small fortune in plumber bills. Subscribing is free, and it's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next one. All right, let's continue. The fourth trick is one I wish someone had drilled into my head before I started turning wrenches, and that's learning not to over-tighten plumbing fittings. This is the #1 DIY plumbing mistake I see. People think tighter means better. Tighter means no leaks. But in plumbing, over-tightening cracks plastic fittings, strips brass threads, warps rubber washers, and can even crack porcelain on a toilet. Supply line nuts, for example, only need to be hand tight, plus about a quarter turn with a wrench. Compression fittings on chrome supply tubes need even less. If you're cranking on something and it still leaks, tighter is not the answer. The fitting is either misaligned, missing a washer, or cross-threaded. Stop, back it off, inspect it, and try again. I've seen guys crack a brand new toilet tank bolt because they just kept going with the wrench. That's a $200 mistake on a 10-cent part. The fifth trick on our list is cleaning your faucet aerators regularly, and this one takes about 2 minutes. If your kitchen or bathroom faucet has weak or uneven water pressure, most people assume something's wrong with the pipes or the valve, but the culprit is almost always the aerator, that little screened cap screwed onto the end of the spout. Mineral deposits and tiny debris clog the screen over time, restricting flow. Unscrew it by hand or with a pair of channel locks and a rag to protect the finish. Pull out the screen and any internal flow restrictor pieces. Soak them in white vinegar for 30 minutes. Scrub gently with an old toothbrush. Rinse everything and reassemble. Your water pressure will come right back. This takes less time than calling a plumber to schedule an appointment, and it saves you the $75 to $150 diagnostic fee you'd pay for someone to come out and do exactly the same thing. The sixth trick is one that could save you from a catastrophic flood, and that's replacing your supply lines before they fail. Those braided stainless steel hoses that connect your faucets, toilets, and washing machine to the wall have a lifespan. Most manufacturers recommend replacing them every 5 to 8 years, but almost nobody does. When a supply line bursts, and they do burst, it can dump gallons of water per minute into your home. I've seen supply line failures cause $5,000 in damage to floors, cabinets, and drywall in less than an hour. Check yours today. Look for bulging, corrosion, kinking, or cracking at the rubber ends where they connect. If they're older than 8 years, or you don't know how old they are, replace them. A pair of supply lines costs $10 to $15. Replacing them takes 15 minutes. Compare that to a water damage claim and a week of fans running in your kitchen. The seventh trick is learning to reset and maintain your garbage disposal, because most disposal service calls are completely unnecessary. If your disposal stops working, the first thing to do is check the bottom of the unit for a small red or black reset button. Press it. That's it. That resets the internal breaker that trips when the motor overloads. If it's jammed, turn it off at the switch, then use a 1/4-inch Allen wrench inserted into the hex socket on the very bottom of the disposal to manually rotate the grinding plate back and forth until the obstruction clears. Never, and I mean never, put your hand inside a disposal. Use tongs or pliers to pull out whatever's stuck. Between the reset button and the Allen wrench trick, you'll solve about 90% of disposal problems without spending a dime. The eighth trick costs you absolutely nothing, and it's pouring water into your floor drains every few months. If you have a basement, a laundry room, or a garage with a floor drain, there's a P-trap underneath it. That trap holds water to create a seal that keeps sewer gas from coming up into your house. But if the drain doesn't get regular water flow, that trap dries out, and suddenly, your basement smells like a sewer. The fix is ridiculously simple. Pour about a gallon of water down each floor drain 4 times a year. Some folks add a small amount of mineral oil on top, which floats on the water and slows evaporation. If you've ever paid someone to come figure out a mystery sewer smell in your basement, this is probably all it was. The ninth trick is learning to read your water meter for hidden leaks, and this one is completely free but incredibly powerful. Here's what you do. Make sure every faucet, toilet, hose, and appliance in the house is off. Nobody running the dishwasher, nobody taking a shower. Go out to your water meter and note the reading, or watch the low flow indicator, which is usually a small triangle or dial on the face. Wait 15 to 30 minutes without using any water. If the meter moved, or that indicator is spinning, you have a leak somewhere. This catches slow toilet leaks, underground line leaks, and even slab leaks that would otherwise go unnoticed for months. I've seen water bills jump $200 a month from a silent toilet leak that the homeowner had no idea about. Checking your meter takes 5 minutes and costs nothing. The 10th trick is testing your water pressure with a simple gauge, and this one might surprise you. High water pressure feels great in the shower, but it silently destroys your plumbing system. Anything over 80 pounds per square inch puts excessive stress on supply lines, faucet cartridges, toilet fill valves, washing machine hoses, and water heater connections. Over time, that pressure causes leaks and premature failures throughout the house. Buy a hose bib pressure gauge for about $5 to $10 at any hardware store. Thread it onto an outdoor spigot, turn the water on, and read the dial. If you're over 80 pounds per square inch, you need a pressure-reducing valve installed on your main line. Normal range is between 40 and 60 pounds per square inch. This is a $5 test that can prevent hundreds or even thousands in cumulative damage over the years. The 11th trick is flushing your water heater annually, and I know most people have never done this. Over time, sediment, mostly calcium and mineral deposits, settles at the bottom of your tank. That layer of sediment acts like insulation between the burner and the water, making your heater work harder, use more energy, and eventually fail years before it should. To flush it, turn off the gas or electricity to the unit, connect a garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom, run the hose to a floor drain or outside, and open the valve. Let it drain until the water runs clear. You might see chunks of white or tan sediment coming out. That's years of buildup. Doing this once a year can extend the life of a water heater by 3 to 5 years and keep your energy bills down. Considering a new water heater costs $800 to $1,200 or more installed, annual flushing is one of the smartest maintenance moves you can make. The 12th trick is insulating your exposed pipes before winter hits. Pipe insulation foam costs about $3 to $4 for a 6-foot section and slides right over copper or PEX pipe. Focus on any pipes in unheated spaces, crawl spaces, garages, attics, and along exterior walls. A frozen pipe doesn't just mean no water. It means a burst pipe, and a burst pipe means hundreds or thousands in repair and water damage. This is one of those jobs that takes an hour on a Saturday afternoon and pays for itself the first time the temperature drops below freezing. The 13th trick is one straight from the trade, and that's using a wet-dry vacuum before you snake a drain. If you've got a stubborn clog that won't respond to a plunger, try setting your shop vac to wet mode and creating a tight seal over the drain opening. The suction can pull the clog right out, especially in sinks and tubs where hair and soap scum are the problem. It's faster and less messy than snaking, and it often works on clogs that plunging can't budge. I've used this trick on jobs when the homeowner was about to call a drain company, and it cleared the line in 30 seconds. The 14th trick is installing quarter-turn shutoff valves whenever you do any renovation or fixture replacement. Old multi-turn gate valves are notorious for seizing up, leaking at the stem, and failing to shut off completely when you need them most. Quarter-turn ball valves are more reliable, faster to operate, and they give you a positive shutoff every single time. Every time you replace a faucet, a toilet, or a supply line, swap the old gate valve for a quarter turn while you're at it. They cost about $5 to $8 each, and they'll last decades. It's a small upgrade that becomes absolutely critical during an emergency. The 15th trick is applying plumber's grease to O-rings and cartridges during faucet repairs. When you pull a faucet cartridge for replacement or maintenance, put a thin coat of silicone-based plumber's grease on the new O-rings before reassembly. This keeps the rubber supple, prevents it from drying out and cracking. and makes the handle turn smoothly. It also makes the cartridge easier to remove next time you need to service it. A small tube of plumber's grease costs $2 to $3 and lasts for years. Skipping this step is why a lot of faucet repairs only last a year or two before the handle gets stiff or starts leaking again. The 16th trick is using a hair catcher in every shower and tub drain in your house. I'll tell you, this is probably the cheapest trick on the whole list, and it prevents the single most common drain clog in residential plumbing. A stainless steel or silicone hair catcher costs $2 to $4 and sits right over the drain opening. Clean it off after every shower. That's it. The alternative is a clogged drain every few months, and eventually a service call that runs $150 to $300. $2 part versus $200 service call. The math speaks for itself. The 17th trick is learning to snake your own drains with a drum auger, and this is the one most homeowners think they can't do, but absolutely can. A drum auger, sometimes called a drain snake, is a coiled metal cable inside a canister with a hand crank. You feed the cable into the drain opening, crank it forward until you hit the clog, and the tip either breaks through it or grabs it so you can pull it out. A good quality quarter-inch drum auger for sinks costs about $15 to $20. A 3/8 inch model for bigger lines runs $25 to $35. Either one will handle 90% of household drain clogs. Compare that to a $150 to $400 service call every time a drain backs up. Take your time on this one, feed the cable slowly, and let the tool do the work. Don't force it. The 18th trick is using expanding foam to silence noisy pipes. If you hear banging, rattling, or hammering in your walls when you turn water on or off, loose pipes are vibrating against framing or other pipes. You can fix this by spraying a small amount of minimal expanding foam, the low-pressure kind, around the pipe where it passes through studs or joists. This cushions the pipe and stops the vibration. Don't use the high expansion type, or you can actually push pipes out of alignment. A single can of low expansion foam costs about $6 and handles multiple spots throughout the house. It's a quick comfort fix that also prevents long-term wear on joints and fittings from constant vibration. The 19th trick is keeping a basic plumber's maintenance kit ready to go in your house at all times. I'm talking about a small bucket or toolbox with a few essentials: a set of tongue and groove pliers, channel locks, a basin wrench, a roll of white thread seal tape and a roll of yellow for gas, a tube of plumber's grease, a few extra wax rings, assorted supply lines in common sizes, a toilet flapper or two, a quarter-inch Allen wrench for garbage disposals, an adjustable wrench, and a small flashlight. When something goes wrong at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, you're not running to the hardware store or paying emergency rates for a plumber. You've got what you need right there. Build this kit once for about $50 to $70, and you're covered for years. The 20th and final trick on our list is knowing when to call a pro and when not to. This might be the most important one of all. Everything I've covered today, these are things you can handle yourself with basic tools, a little patience, and the right information. But there are jobs that belong to a licensed plumber. Anything involving your main sewer line, gas piping, water heater installation, major remodels requiring permits, or work you're simply not comfortable doing. There's no shame in calling a pro when the job demands it. The real savings come from knowing the difference. Don't pay $300 for a 5-minute flapper replacement. But don't try to solder gas lines because you watched a video. Between you and me, the smartest homeowners I've met over 30 years aren't the ones who do everything themselves. They're the ones who know which jobs to tackle and which ones to hand off. All right, now for the bonus tip I've been holding on to. And this one's a good one. Before you ever start any plumbing repair, take a picture of the assembly with your phone before you take anything apart. Every valve, every fitting, every cartridge, every connection. Take a picture first. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a homeowner pull something apart, lay the pieces on the counter, and then have no idea how it all goes back together. 30 minutes into the job, they're on the phone with a plumber saying they need someone to come put things back the way they were. That phone call costs you $200 or more, and all it would have taken was a photo. Do the same thing when you go to the hardware store. Take the old part with you and take a picture of where it came from. You'll match the replacement perfectly every time and avoid those 3 trips back and forth trying to find the right size. It's a small habit that saves enormous headaches. That's how my Uncle Ray taught me, and that's how I'm teaching you. Before you go, if you got something out of this video, do me one last favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week covering real-world plumbing repairs, money-saving tips, and the kind of know-how that takes years to pick up on the job. Subscribing costs you nothing, and it makes sure these videos show up in your feed when you need them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.